Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Curious Realms continuing coverage of the Stairway to the Stars conference here in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada at the Luxor. We're here with our good friend Brad Olsen. He is the author of The Future Esoteric, Modern Esoteric, and Beyond Esoteric. He's been on the show, God, probably a good 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
You were recently giving a presentation I saw on Lost Atlantis in Antarctica. Let's get into that a little bit because I've loved your Antarctica exploration for years to begin with, but the concept of Antarctica being part of Atlantis has been something that I have considered for a long, long time.
Great question, Chris. And of course, this is what everybody wants to know is, could there be remnants of Atlantis or a high civilization other than this modern age? Because Antarctica was only discovered in 1821. So all the bases there and all the modern equipment and buildings are all of the last 100 years or so. So if they were to find, say, megalithic constructions, pyramids poking through the ice, or giants, or megafauna, megaflora, well, that's a game changer, and that really changes everything when it comes to reinterpreting who we are on this planet and how long high-tech civilizations have been here.
Well, and how many high-tech civilizations have been here in addition to that. That's whenever we have Jared Murphy on, that's always a huge topic of conversation because unfortunately so many people think that it has to be aliens.
Right.
When humans are incredibly ingenious, and yes, we've had numerous iterations of humanity over many times and lost civilizations. We've lost knowledge, regained knowledge. Even the idea that the Pythagorean theorem did not start with Pythagoras.
Right.
And it was originally part of, Babylon, things like that, or Sumeria rather. Incredible to think about and to know that these other civilizations built on others,
Right, and that's the whole concept of the Osirian Empire, which was the beginning of Egypt, was a remnant of ancient Atlantis. And they took their knowledge of, say, for example, how to build a great pyramid and make it a power device, a ram pump, and so many other inventions all in one, that you're looking at a civilization that had reached its high point, reached its apex early on, as is evident with the pyramid constructions, and degraded in times past. Usually history works the other way around. You start at a primitive end and then you build up and perfect what it is you're working on, like a pyramid.
Yeah.
But here we have the oldest structures and the oldest megaliths around the world are the ones that go way, way back.
And have extreme precision of perfection. Like
all
not only in construction, but in geometric placement on the Earth and geologic placement on the Earth as well.
That's the real fascinating thing about the Great Pyramid. And in my book, Modern Esoteric, I have a map of the Great Pyramid layout as they are seen overlooking the whole delta of the Mediterranean Ocean. And here it is. And then you can see here, Chris, so here they are in the light.
Yeah.
Just below the delta of the Nile, there's the Great Pyramids, there's modern Cairo. But look at this, how they are the exact center of all the continental land masses on Earth.
Yeah.
So it's as if the people who built them had a knowledge of what the Earth looked like from above.
Yeah. And even whenever you start looking at adjunct civilizations that built pyramids as well, when you look at the pyramids in China that are in just about the same formation. When you look at the pyramids of Teotihuacan, which are in just about the same formation as the Great Pyramid of Giza.
What do they all have in common? Well, they're 2 big pyramids and then one slightly off. You would think they would do them all in a row, but why is the one slightly off? And that's the Belt of Orion. And that is a commonality that they were also stargazers and worked with the alignments of the planets and the sun and moon.
And that's a huge part of it, because especially when you're talking ancient civilizations, because whether it was farming, whether it was the seasons, whether it was what was available to hunt at the time, all of that was firmly available by stars, constellations, everything that, as opposed to us now, I even make the comparison regularly of like my great grandparents. Like heck, my grandparents grew up with horses and oil lamps. When the sun went down, it was dark. Like it was dark.
Dark.
They didn't need a farmer's almanac to know when to put seed in the ground.
Right.
They knew just by the positioning of the stars and the weather change that, hey, we should probably get some seed in.
Yeah.
You know, it's about that time of year.
Yep.
And we have definitely within 100 years have lost that connection to the earth and the way that operates.
Yeah. And
it doesn't take that long for us to literally forget.
Right. And or relearn,
yeah.
Which is, I think, in the case of building the pyramids. Of course, out here in North America, we also have the tell of the seasons in archaeoastronomy in the form of the medicine wheels.
Yeah.
And I had the great opportunity of going out when I was researching this book.
Oh, wow.
And seeing a whole bunch of them, including Bighorn medicine wheel, and that's one of the color photos. I'll flip to that. Yeah.
I don't have this book.
You don't have this
I got to
book.
get this book.
And there I stayed out on summer solstice 2001. And
wow.
Exactly the sunrise. You can see how it illuminates the heel stone all the way across the main cairn. There's the sun rising right over there. Perfect alignment.
Yeah.
So they knew exactly when the solstice was going to come, and you could see how important that would be to primitive people, because you got to know when to plant your seed.
Absolutely.
But you may, in this case, up in northern Wyoming, when you need to migrate.
Yep.
And to have that knowledge as a shaman or someone who could interpret these things, that'd be a very important position in society.
Even as a solo or hunting in a pair or anything like that, to go out and gather food for a 3-4 day hunt, something like that, and bring your way back. I mean, that is one of the examples that I give all the time of the property that Dennis Stone owns, America's Stonehenge.
I've been there many times,
and the alignments there, because when you go there, even historically, when the settlers came and found it and asked the local Indians, hey, where did this come from? They were like, I don't know, that was here when we got here. It was something that they knew about, but they didn't even know who built it.
What they were like, and many times the Native Americans would say they were here when we got here, and we just utilized them. Why wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, and also the fact of when you're looking, especially at Native American tribes in the Northeast, things like that, they weren't necessarily full shelter builders.
Right.
You know, they didn't build pueblos like they did in the Southwest, things like that. There are a few things up around the front where obviously there were some encampments, but it's not like it was a settlement where they lived or anything like that. It seems much more like it's somewhere that they may have traversed. Maybe they used the cave structures there.
Did you mean in America's Stonehenge?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, a lot of those structures are clearly megalithic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're huge.
Yeah, they're ginormous.
And like I said, for them to have used it as maybe a hunting locker, to roll a stone in front of, keep your food there, that kind of stuff. Keep your kills there.
These are a bunch of pictures I took. Yeah. America's Stonehenge. You can see quite clearly. Megalithic design, bee home, beehive chambers, and
amazing alignments. Amazing alignments. Like while I was there, I actually pointed out a lunar alignment that he didn't know about with my lunar finding app. Because we were there, I was looking at all the stuff with the sun alignments, and I was like, let's look at a lunar alignment. And I went, and it was almost right there to the day. And he was like, wow, send that to me. Because I guess they had never considered lunar alignments as well.
You know all this.
But
you know what? It's my gift to you today, Chris. I'm giving you a signed copy.
I appreciate that, Brad. It's one of those that, once again, we are so entirely ready to forget things as a humanity. And so many of these things go back so far that it's almost undeniable. Even the work of Graham Hancock recently, his series, things like that. It's funny to me to hear people poo-poo the work. When he is not a researcher of these things, he's just a journalist.
Right.
So he's just following the same paper trail, same clue trail that any journalist would to break a story.
Right.
It just happens to be that these are the commonalities between things. Like, I'm just pointing those out as a journalist.
As are we, when you look at it, what do? We're just collecting information, we're researchers, and we're piecing together this mosaic, which is ancient history. And when you look at all the pieces and around the world, you're seeing that there is a sophistication of knowledge in primitive people, both in building design, plus in these alignments. And now that we have confirmed megalithic structures with alignments here in North America, that again, I think is a game changer.
It really is, especially whenever you start looking at, people like Kathleen Ball's work right across the way over there, talking about Templars in America. You know, things like that, because they absolutely, whenever they traveled, made connections with the locals to learn those esoteric things, to learn things that they even weren't aware of that added to their realm of knowledge. And that's one reason why I love your titles, Beyond Esoteric.
Thank you.
Because I think people have lost the concept of the term esoteric, and the idea that, you know, there is a hidden realm of knowledge out there, be it symbologically, culturally, what have you. These things exist throughout time and throughout history and throughout cultures. And it's very interesting to me how there are so many commonalities between India, Mayan, North American. It's just all over the place.
Uncanny how much there is. Yeah, if you're paying attention, it's right there, out hidden in plain sight, as they say.
Yeah. So what is the new book about?
Well, it's going to be the fourth in the Esoteric series. It is based on my exploration of Antarctica 5 years ago. I was on a sailboat down there for 26 days, and I'm even in talks with film crew and financiers about going back with a film crew and doing a documentary.
Wow.
Going to places like New Schwabenland, the German claim, and I know where the base 211 is, to explore around there and go out to the Conan base, which in my presentation here at conferences I talk about one of the 3 known motherships in Antarctica below the ice. They've been known for over 50 years, and they're called the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria. They've got names. Wow.
Now, let's get into that for a minute, because there is the infamous no-fly zone over Antarctica, where there are apparently anomalies, all kinds of things. And there is, of course, the concept that there are motherships under the ice in Antarctica.
Right. And this is one of the most best evidence confirmed sites down there, and it happens to be a West German research base seasonally. And in 2013, they were doing an excavation on what looks like about a 1/4 mile long giant radiator. Fins are coming out of the ice, and they're pulling it away, and then over another spot they're pulling out something orange and metallic, and that could be an entrance down into the ship.
Wow.
And then every year since then it covers over, but it looks like they held up the fins with some kind of circus poles, is how I think of it, and maybe a heavy duty tarp, because it just kind of looks like the very top of a giant circus tent now.
Okay.
So perhaps preserving it in that way.
Preserving the dig site, so to speak.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. And to think about that, once again, the fact of that is one of the oldest land masses on Earth. Once again, not discovered until the last 100 years and hardly explored. There's of course the Nazi bases that existed down there. Operation High Jump, all that kind of good stuff.
That's what I'm putting in my new book. And then hopefully another trip down there as well.
Wow, that is incredible, man. I cannot wait for that. I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with us. Let everybody know where they can go to get not only sacred places, because I'm excited to tear into this one, but your copies of Esoteric, Beyond Esoteric, Modern Esoteric, and Future Esoteric.
Well, they all come from my website, CCC Publishing. And this is just the last printed catalog we did. I also do a whole bunch of other authors, and there are some of my books and other books I don't even have here on the table. But basically, go to CCC Publishing, .com is the website, and those copies that are ordered there go through my office, and I can sign them for people.
Awesome. Brad, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being able to make it here. It was such a surprise. whenever I saw you coming out, when I saw you setting up yesterday, I was like, or earlier today, I was like, is that Brad Olsen setting up? I didn't think he was here.
He wasn't supposed to, but
I am so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy that I got to meet you in person.
Yeah, you too.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
While you are online checking out everything from Brad Olsen and CCC Publishing, make sure to stop on by Curious Realm. CuriousRealm.com is where you can go for all the episodes. That's where you can go to buy all of our guest books, as well as find all of their videos from YouTube. Stay tuned through these commercial breaks, everybody. We will be back with our continuing coverage of Stairway to the Stars here in Las Vegas, Nevada at the fabulous Luxor. We'll be right back after this.